This is Lama Tashi in Kauai Dharma Center in Hawaii, on the island of Kauai. And tonight we are presenting the three aspects of the tantric practice of Tara, which is in Tibetan Buddhism one of the most basic practices of what we call the path of skillful means, or deity yoga. This type of practice is called highest Anatura Tantric Yoga. And it incorporates all the aspects of the sutra, the tantra, and the teachings on the pure nature of consciousness and how it applies to the mind. When we do these practices, we are using what we call the basis of loving kindness, and the loving kindness is extended in an unconditional way. So we use the term unconditional love as the basis of the practice. Conditional love comes in the form of conditioned existence. Unconditional love comes in the formless aspect of unconditional existence. Then, from this basis of loving kindness, we apply it to the universe and everybody in it.
It's personal teachings.
The practicality of this is that everybody is treated with equality, so that there's no higher or lower. There's no supreme being or what we call highest kind of birth. All births are treated equal, whether they be spirit birth, heavens, for instance, or human birth or animal birth. The Tara practice is designed to bring quickly one to realize their true nature so that they can enhance their body, speech, and mind on the path of what we call the Bodhisattva. The Bodhisattva makes a commitment to bring all beings to realize their true nature and eliminate all the aspects of pain and suffering in conditioned existence. When we start these practices, we start with what is called refuge in the Tibetan tradition. And the refuge simply brings what already exists as our support. For instance, the lamas already exist on this planet, and there are many men and women who are lamas, teachers of this tradition and this type of practice. Then the refuge also uses the deities themselves as a refuge. For instance, tonight you are being introduced to the deity Tara, which is a bodhisattva symbol of one's true nature. And then we have the Buddhas. Buddhas are simply human beings who have realized their true nature and evolved into merging their consciousness with what already exists, the phenomenal world. The term we use loosely is enlightenment. Then we have the Dharma itself is taught by Shakyamuni Buddha 2,600 years ago and evolved through all the traditions of India and Tibet and other countries, and now is presented in the Western world. Then we have all of the Dakinis and Dakinis. These are the protective aspects of our true nature that evolve from the practices. Basically, they have two functions. One is to protect the Dharma teachings themselves and the people practicing. The second one is to protect one who is a practitioner from their own egocentric mind and all the negativity of that. So these 6 refuges is how we start the practice. Then the second aspect of the refuge is to adopt the Bodhisattva path with 6 basic disciplines. And these 6 are incorporated into all of the various yogas For instance, the Tara Yoga we're going to do tonight. And these 6 yogas are simply generosity on both the conditioned and unconditional levels, morality, which is virtuous activity that includes ethics and good manners, patience, which is applied to the self, others, and to our natural environment, and to our pure nature, perseverance, which is also called diligence, which means that these practices are incorporated into our lifestyle in such a way that we evolve to the level where they're 24/7, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And then we have the actual yogas and meditation practices. This is called the level of single-pointed concentration, developing focus, so that we greatly increase our attention span. And then the 6th yoga is simply using the first 5 to connect with the nature of mind, inseparable from the basis of the practice, loving kindness and unconditional or altruistic compassion. The fruits of the practice is one quickly arrives to a state of insight, together with the experiences and realization of bliss, and then increasing their power and energy, they are able to directly and indirectly present this to others as a healing, I would like to say a healing program or a healing software. So now we're going to take refuge. I've explained the refuge and the 6 disciplines, and I'm going to first chant it in Tibetan, then say it in American. Palden Lama Dampa Nam La Chap Su Chio Yidam Chokor Gilat So Nam La Chap Su Chio Sanjay Chom Dende Nam La Chap Su Chio Dampe Chur Nam La Chap Su Chio Pao Pe Gendum Nam La Chap Su Chio Pao Wo Kandro Chokyum Sume Sho Yeshe Ki Shendang Dempa Nam La Chap Su Chio. The Sanskrit language is designed to bring the resonance of the speech as a connecting method to the heart, which we label as the path and mind of the Bodhisattva. In order to attain enlightenment for ourselves and limitless sentient beings, our mothers, we now altogether take refuge and offer prostrations. We go for refuge to all glorious holy lamas. We go for refuge to all the idams, the deities we incorporate in our mandalas. We go for refuge to all the Buddhas, those who have conquered the mind and gone beyond. We go for refuge to all the Supreme Dharma. We go for refuge to all the Noble Sangha. We go for refuge to all the Dakas and Dakinis, who are the protectors and defenders of Dharma. All of these sources of refuge possess the eye of transcending awareness. Then the second prayer of refuge is the Bodhicitta prayer of the path of the Bodhisattva. Sanjay Chodam Choki Chognam La Jengshu Bardu Dagni Chatsu Chi Dagi Jinso Jipe Sonam Pi Jola Fenzer Sanjay Jupar Sho. And that prayer in English is to the Buddha, Dharma, and this Supreme Assembly, we go for refuge until enlightenment. May I, through merit gained from practicing the 6 disciplines of the Bodhisattva path, accomplish Buddhahood for the sake of all beings. So those 2 prayers start all practice in our tradition. And then there are interim practices that are incorporated into the yogas, and those practices are, one is making offerings, two is purifying the mind, three is rejoicing in the virtuous activity of our teachers and all beings, humans and spirits. The fifth is praying for the teachers to stay in this world and not pass into states of nirvanic bliss. And the sixth level of the practice, which is that they turn the wheel of the Dharma. This simply means that they give us all the appropriate teachings according to each one's individual capacity and ability. And at the end of every session of practice, the formal sessions, we do what is called dedication. So these 7 aspects of yoga, what we call Mahayana Buddhism, are incorporated into the Tara practice and all the deity yogas of Tibetan Buddhism. How do the deity yogas apply? Well, simply put, or the way I present it, is that the outer world is composed of 5 elements. So this is very similar to other traditions such as Taoism and Tai Chi Chuan and so forth. But when we use the Tara practice, we are not only using the 5 elements for healing on the physical and mental level, but we're also using them to heal on the emotional and spiritual level. So these 5 elements, earth, water, fire, air, and space, are color-coded into the Tara practice. For instance, tonight I'm going to give the empowerment of the green Tara. I do that because that's our main lineage deity. And she, because of her color code green, is associated with the air element. So each Tara has a color, and color code responds to the element. For instance, red is fire or radiation, yellow is earth, blue is water, and white is space. Now these 5 elements are the natural world. So what we're doing is starting to merge our mind with this practice with what already exists, the phenomenal universe. And that's where the word Tantra comes in, which means to merge or integrate. Then these 5 elements already existing make up our body. And since we're using these 5 elements continually, they are inseparable from what the Tara represents, which is a state of intrinsic awareness. When we enter into this inner state of intrinsic awareness, we are entering into our pure consciousness, which is not easily observed in the mind. Now what I mean by that is pure consciousness is unconditional. And so when we use the term consciousness, we're talking about an all-pervasive situation where the inside is awareness connected to all the outside. When we do that, developing this state of awareness is the benefit of these tantric deity yoga practices that we do, and tonight specifically Tara. When we do that, we actually integrate 5 states of intrinsic awareness. And we use these 5 states of intrinsic awareness in these deity yoga practices to transform the negative emotional habits that we've integrated into our state of existence. And we categorize those in 5 different areas. The first one is ignorance. Now, ignorance is simply the idea that one exists separately from everything and everyone else. And this is the cause of all pain and suffering. and the other emotional tendencies that we have developed over many, many lifetimes. The second emotional category is called anger or aversion, and that category carries, like the first category, ignorance, it carries a lot of pain and suffering, but it also carries its own antidote. Now these antidotes I don't want to explain because they arise naturally from doing these practices. But you should know the emotional energy transformed into your Buddha nature. The next category is jealousy. And
interference.
the next category, jealousy, is simply the aspect of anger making one feel inferior. The next category is attachment. Attachment, desire, lust. This category is unfavorable because it distorts the pure consciousness and causes the mind to become confused. And then finally, the fifth category is simply the category of pride. Now that one we have to watch very closely, especially in these practices, because through these practices, which are extraordinary, we start to develop extraordinary traits that are inherent in not only our mind, but in our situations, in our body, and so forth. So these five categories are purified with these practices and are directly connected to the five elements. So the Tara is to take away all the negativity of the five states of emotionality. And in its place, prepare one and allow one to experience five states of intrinsic awareness as the totality of everything. This chart that I'm showing you is a code. It's very similar to software going into your computer. So tonight you're going to learn the start of using the five elements in a very extraordinary way with the Tara practice. This short explanation is covered with thousands of volumes of the teachings of the Buddha, which we call Dharma. So this is the shortcut through all that. Now when we do these practices starting with the refuge, all of the refuge in the 6 disciplines of the Bodhisattva path are incorporated into the deity, which is called a yidam in Tibetan, and in this case is the Tara, female aspect. The Tara is presented as a hologram. Now, in our modern technology, we have what we call HoloLenses, glasses that we can put on and create directly in front of us images. And nobody else can see those images but you, and they're programmed. And the images carry their own format. They carry their own sound, three-dimensional aspect, and whatever you want to be projected directly in front of you. Microsoft is even advertising these, but these are for people that I like to say have a short attention span and have not learned to use their imagination in a more spiritual way. When we create the Tara, we create it as a hologram, as a three-dimensional image made of light. And we embellish this image symbolically. For instance, the Tara image herself is simply the true nature of what your body is. which is a form made of light. For instance, the scientists tell us atoms. Well, this aspect of atoms is the way everything in the universe is presented, as energy. So when we create the Tara imaging, whether in front or incorporated into ourselves, it's presented to the mind in that way. Then the Tara has ornamentation. For instance, she has 3 eyes. Well, that means we're using the eye of the mental aspect of our consciousness, we call the imagination, to see not only or project not only outside but inwardly. The other 2 eyes are useful to integrate what you develop inside to be placed outside as healing energy or benefit to others. She's wearing 5 colors of silks. These are the 5 symbolic of the 5 elements. She has 6 kinds of jewelry. These are the symbols of the 6 disciplines that we mentioned in the Bodhicitta prayer: generosity, morality, patience, perseverance, meditative focus, and insight. Then she has a 5-jewel crown. That's to connect to the 5 states of intrinsic awareness that I just mentioned, which in our tradition we call Buddha fields, which simply means the pure nature of consciousness of a human being transformed into the energy of the universe and everybody in it. She shows 2 rainbow energy fields around her. The inner one is created by your awareness. The outer one is how we extend that to everyone else, everywhere, to our world. She sits with one right leg extended, means she's ready to go into action to heal and benefit others. Left leg drawn in means she's in the yogic position of meditation. This is called in Sanskrit the sattvic aspect of a bodhisattva. She sits on a lotus, in 32-petal lotus, as the heart, all the qualities of the heart-mind transformed into unconditional love and altruistic compassion. On that lotus she has the sun and moon disk, which is the outer life force of the universe as a support. And then inside she has 5 chakra energy centers marked with the 5 sounds of both the 5 elements, and for more advanced practice, the 5 sounds of the 5 states of intrinsic awareness, or the 5, what we call Buddha fields. This aspect has directly in front a symbol of an empty mirror, and that mirror is marked with the sound Tom. This means that we are taking our pure nature and transforming it with sound and light into 3 qualities of awareness. The first quality is voidness itself, which does not mean emptiness. It means an energy field that is unconditional and creates a situation for the practitioner of infinite possibilities. The second quality is called clarity. This means we become clear of the ego fixation of an I, self, or soul, move into this state of infinite possibilities with the thought clear of emotional disturbance. And the third quality that we're experiencing and realizing is called bliss. Bliss is an unconditional state one finds themselves in a lot in our human condition. but nobody really connects to it as spiritual. But what it really is means simply a complete lack of drama. And that takes some getting used to.
Because sorry to interrupt you. Can I pause? What was the first quality
that we experience is called voidness.
Okay, thank you.
Which means when you start to look at your own mind and its source, you cannot find a source. And you can recognize this as your thoughts arising from voidness, presenting themselves in light form, and then disappearing back into that state. When one starts to realize this, experience this, then the next state is to realize its usefulness. That's the trick that we're working with the Tara. Lots of people have lots of experiences of, like, orgasmic experiences are actually experiences of voidness. But in that orgasmic experience, you can't think. So that's the clarity. And then also you experience bliss. That's the nature of consciousness itself. Some say joy. So those are the three qualities of the experience of your pure nature, which we call Buddha. But really, it just simply means natural state. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Now, when we present the Tara, there are three, in our tradition, there are three ways of starting to use this. One is just by hearing it. And that requires, for the receiver of the information, the instruction from a teacher or lama who is already doing this practice. For instance, I don't teach anything to you that I'm not already doing. That way it's not hearsay. That's way you're getting an actual living being's presentation of the effectiveness of these yoga practices, of these meditations. So it's important to receive the transmission orally, which is what we're doing tonight. The second aspect of this transmission is to receive the sound of the speech, which is the vibratory energy of this yoga deity coming from the pure dimension of your consciousness into your mind, into your sensual perceptions, for instance, the sight and the hearing. That is called the womb. And then the third part of this transmission of this particular kind of yoga is to receive the energy itself and how to use it and how to do the practice effectively. And in Sanskrit, that is called the tree, or what we call the creation, the commentary, which is presented by the teachers either orally or in book form. Sometimes we use just the direct method like I'm using tonight of the oral transmission, and sometimes we use actual sutra texts that have been translated into our language. Now I'm going to give you from the sutra text a description of what the power, insight, compassion effectively incorporates into the human condition of the practitioner as qualities. And there are 21 of these qualities. And they are so powerful that they can be incorporated into creative art forms, such as song, dance, actual art, paintings, which is what the Tibetans, that's how they transmitted it for teaching purposes from India to Tibet, and so forth. So I'm going to read these qualities. The first quality that the Tara incorporates into the practitioner is wisdom itself. This is not really based on intelligence. For instance, we have lots of intelligent people, extremely intelligent, photographic memories, all of that, and they have no wisdom. So this is an aspect of your pure consciousness, not your mind. When we give these teachings, we're trying to bring you to the experience and realization of your pure consciousness, and then incorporate that into the mind. Now, the mind is simply the aspect of sensing, thinking, emotional reaction, and the tendencies caused by those three. We call that the mind. All sentient beings have mind. That's why they're called sentient beings. So wisdom is the first quality. With wisdom, you must have loving kindness and compassion. That means you are interested in the well-being of all beings and your environment. So compassion is the second aspect of Tara. And the third aspect is, since we want to bring all beings to realize this true nature, inseparable from the nature of the world, we have what we call power. So wisdom, compassion, and power are integrated into one's body, speech, and mind. If I show you a picture of Tara, on the back of the picture are three sounds, Om, Ah, and Hum. These are the pure sounds of your body, speech, and mind, bringing you to realize what they are and their usefulness. Now, once the wisdom, compassion, power comes together through practice, then we extend what is called swift protection. And that means that now we move into a mode where it's all about everybody else. Okay? Self is not separate, so we don't have to worry about self anymore. Everybody else is who we are. So that's called the swift protection. Then we develop what is creative wisdom, how to use our intelligence and our wisdom together to benefit others. Then, along with this, we have other qualities. I'll just read them rather than translate them. Impeccable virtue, all victorious, having sublime intelligence. That means insight into voidness, insight into clarity, insight into bliss. Worthy of honor, invincible courage. That one is really important. That means to become fearless. Throw fear and worry and hope out the window. Destroys negativity. If you do that, then everything's positive. If everything's positive, well, there's a lot less pain and suffering. If you follow along with this, you can see how one quality kind of leads to the other. True refuge. That means protecting oneself from pain and suffering, and being always kind and considerate. Joy and laughter. One must have a sense of humor through all this because the joke is on us. Distributor of wealth. There's great benefit in these practices because you accumulate through the merit of the practice stuff. We call it spiritual accumulation, spiritual material accumulation. So you have to know how to use it without being egocentric, without being a needy person. Auspicious beauty, irresistible truth, ferocious compassion. That means nothing gets in the way. Serene peace. Now, usually in meditative practices in yoga, this one is the goal. But in our form of practice, peace is only a basis for insight. So we don't treat it as an ultimate state. Destroyer of attachment. This is what we come to when the final vestiges of ego disappear. Bliss and joy, which both apply to mind and the universe. Transformer of poison. Remover of sorrow. Radiant health. And complete enlightenment. Now these are the 21 qualities of Tara, but these are actually incorporated into one's lifestyle through various methods, not just through the method of the Tara practice. Now I read these off because, in my opinion, the female condition is the cause of the human race. And since the female condition is the cause of the human race, simply means there wouldn't be any humans without the female. Also, my own mother, being a Dakini, she, in part of her training to me, to help me to reach some state she called maturity, which I think is the right word for Buddha. She always stressed that she made me, that she was the creator of my human form, and therefore she was 100% responsible for my development of mind, physical body, and the way I act as I grow up. I'm saying this because wherever there's honor and respect lacking towards the female on this planet, we have extreme suffering on all levels of social intercourse, political, spiritual, or religious, corporate, and so forth. So I'm just stressing that the Tara image that we are presenting is the ultimate development for a man or woman to reach maturity as a human being. And when that is actualized, there's nothing beyond that. And for me, it's fun. Okay. Now I'm going to present the how to do the Tara practice. Since we only have 3 things to work with as human beings, our body, speech, and mind, those 3 need to be transformed into the, I would like to say, extraordinary state or ultimate state from the relative condition. Now, what is going on with humans is that our body, speech, and mind are not operating together. They're not in the same place. And the more technological advances that we have, and the more distractions in our industrial age, the more separation between these 3 aspects of a human being take place. So, to start the practice of the Tara training tonight, we're going to do a meditation practice taught by all the lamas using the breath, called the 3 lights meditation. And the purpose is to bring the body, speech, and mind of the human into one place in a powerful way. So to start the practice, sit with your back straight, head slightly tilted forward. This lines up the energy channels of life force within the body and the chakra systems, which we are going to use in practice, or are already using. Focus the eyes to 2 feet in front to the space and light situated there, and soften your gaze. You don't have to have your eyes wide open. Just soften the gaze. Then the fourth position is the mouth closed with the tongue resting against the palate to start with. And finally, the hands positioned either on the knees or in the lap. I find the hands down, palms down position on the knees useful. Some think that the Buddha posture right on top of left in the lap is useful. And with these 5 positions or mudras, we bring our focus, our awareness to our breath. And to detach from worldly activity, we simply follow the breath. Inhale, exhale. Then acknowledge the air that you are breathing. The air comes in, fills the lungs, the diaphragm expands, so the air is moved down into that place, lower lungs. Then the diaphragm contracts and the air is expelled out the nose back into space. The next step of this practice is to develop 3-part breathing. Focusing on the inhale and exhale, give a pause of at least 1 second between the inhale and exhale. So you inhale, pause, that's called the absorption breath, exhale. The next step is to incorporate what we call the 3 lights with these 3 breaths. Inhale the air as white light. The middle breath, the absorption breath, is red light. Visualize permeating the form as energy. Exhale blue light to fill space. And I like the color of the sky for that one. Inhale white, middle breath red, exhale blue. With this practice, you're not only disengaging from worldly activity, but you are also entering a state of calm abiding. We use the word peace or tranquility. Acknowledging that, we now introduce 3 sounds. Inhaling the white light air, we hear the sound Om. The middle breath of absorption energy to the body, we hear the sound Ah. In the blue light exhale, we hear the sound Hum. H-U-N-G or H-U-M. Hum. Om, Ah, Hum. Now these 3 sounds are applied to the 3 aspects of your being: your body, your speech, and your mind. They are also the aspects of the all-pervasive nature of the universe as the outer, inner, and inner states of awareness itself. So these are all 3 all-pervasive energy fields. As you bring these 3 lights with these 3 sounds, use your visualization, your imagination process to create directly in front of you the Tara. Now I have one over my left shoulder, this large statue. It can look like that, or like the Tonkas that the Tibetans painted. This one was actually painted by an artist on Maui, one of my good friends. And when you do this, when you create this 3-dimensional image in front of you with your imagination, it's a hologram. It's completely made of light. And it's life size. So here's the green Tara directly in front of you, dressed in all her qualities, sitting on a lotus sun and moon disk. Right hand in the gesture of supreme giving. Left hand, thumb and ring finger hold a lotus of kindness and compassion, symbolized by blooming at her left ear. And she has all of the qualities of the Bodhisattva, mother. And when I say mother, I mean the wisdom mother of all Buddhas. With this hologram directly in front of you, come back to your breathing of the 3 lights and 3 sounds. When you focus on the inhale, this activates white light from the Om sound from her head into your head. This acts as an empowerment for your body. With the middle breath, the red absorption breath with the red Ah, activates red light from her throat to your throat. This is called the energy bliss or speech empowerment. When you exhale the blue light into air, the sound Hum causes blue light from her heart chakra to your heart chakra. And we say, since we're locating the mind and the heart, this is the mental transmission of knowledge and wisdom. So you breathe this way, visualizing the deity directly in front, inseparable from your Lama and all deities used in tantric practice, all the teachers, and all the Buddhas. All of that incorporated into this one symbol. And the transmission of these 3 lights into your 3 places is the start of the path of the transformation of your body, speech, and mind into the three vehicles of a Buddha. Having practiced this, you will develop the ability to do this with other worldly activities. But for now, we're just doing it formally. Also, what is taking place is a self-empowerment. Because in actuality, your spiritual karma is presenting everything that you are experiencing tonight and adapting into your lifestyle and daily activity. Now take your focus off the breathing. The three lights shining simultaneously cause the image in front, the hologram, to merge into you. In this way, all of the light energy of that merges with the light energy of your physical body. As this takes place, the three sounds and the three lights appear within your body. To start with, we incorporate the life force of the body as a central channel of energy or light running from the top of the head to the bottom of the torso. And inside that channel of your life force, you visualize a white Om sphere in the center of your head or brain. Then you visualize a red Ah inside a red sphere in your throat, again in the central channel. Then you visualize a blue Hung in a blue sphere of light in the center of your chest, designated the heart chakra. You might also hear the term Dharma chakra. Now focus on the white Om sphere in the head and chant Om. Inhale. Bring your focus to the red Ah sphere in your throat. Chant Ah. Move your focus to the blue Hung sphere in your heart chakra. Chant Hum. Now see all three lights shining simultaneously, emanating light in the same way as the sun's energy is extended or emanates. So the three spheres are extending this healing energy from your life's force central channel out to others and your environment. All of the Tantric Yoga of Tibetan Buddhism uses these three lights and these three sounds as the software to access all of the Buddha fields and all of the practices of the 1,000 deities of the 5 Buddha family. For now, we're going to bring the body, speech, and mind of these 3 developing in this way into one place. This is called the empowerment of union. Focus on the white Om sphere moving down the central channel of your life force. Merge with the red Ah. Then that red sphere moving downward and merging with the blue Hum. Now all 3 incorporated in your heart chakra. Expand that sphere to the totality of space, which of course has no boundary, and relax. In other words, allow everything to disappear into the unconditioned state of pure consciousness or voidness. Relax. Simply stay present and alert. And we call this unconditioned state, that is without meditation, the Dharmakaya, which means the all-pervasive state of consciousness itself as incorporating whatever is outside with inside. In our tradition of Tibetan Buddhism, we use the term Maha Mudra, which simply means the great commitment or view of pure awareness, without any egocentric application. This takes some getting used to, but that's the nature of everything. That is the nature of nature. And that is the nature of consciousness. To give an explanation in the Tantric tradition of how these sounds are artistically expressed, in meditation or otherwise, the Om looks like this in Tibet or India. It's a different Om representation than the Hindu. And it is colored white. The Ah looks like the Om, but without the part above. And the Hum is like a tilted letter 5 with the hook under it and a dot or sun and moon above it. And incorporated in these 3 sounds are 3 symbols of pure consciousness or Buddha. The Om incorporates the Buddha Vairocana as bringing knowledge and wisdom together in the process of how you perceive, think, and emotionally involve yourself. with objects. The Ah takes the energy of the body being empowered in this way and puts it into what is called powerful speech and the experience of bliss. And then the Hum takes one to the state of voidness as a healing remedy for everything physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually expressed or experienced. So these three are the all-pervasive nature of the phenomenal world outside and your pure consciousness inside, coming together. And that's where the word Tantra evolves. So I'm showing you this. So the Om is applied to the head, Ah to the throat, Hum to the heart.
Lama Tashi,
Yeah.
to quickly interrupt you. So we have about 15, 20 minutes before I need to stop, and then I have a client. So just a heads up.
It's 5:04 here.
Yes. So in about 15, 20 minutes, I have to hop offline.
What do you want to do?
Can you do a green Tara practice? Is that okay?
We're all set.
Okay, let's do her.
What we just did is how you would approach the Tara without a text. So this three lights meditation is the introduction to Tara practice in the Tantric method. And when you have a text, then you use the text to approach the Tara. Now here's how you do the Tara practice. With this in place, you start by visualizing in the center of your heart chakra a blazing point or tiny particle of energy or light as representing space and light. Then you increase that with your imagination to a tiny sphere of clear light, three-dimensionally. Then you increase that sphere in size until it becomes a 5-color sphere about the size of a small marble, inside marked with the seed syllable Tom, which looks like the letter 5 with a dot over it. And you give that green Tom thickness. This becomes the creation symbol of the deity when you extend the 5-colored lights of the sphere to the lamas, deities, and protectors of this tantric tradition that you took refuge with. They are visualized as being in vast numbers around you in space. Then the light is returned into the Tom from them. And immediately you present yourself as the holographic, or we say the virtual Tara, complete with all the qualities visualized. So the silks, jewels, hand position, 5-jewel crown, smiling, greenish color aura, rainbow lights of energy emanating, sitting on a lotus sun and moon disk in the sky of your mind. So you are visualizing yourself in space. Then all of this representation becomes part of the practice. The seed syllable Tom and the imaging of the Tara. Then to start the practice, you project the Tara directly in front of you, facing you as your mother, the person who gave you this precious human body. Then you project it to the father and all family members. Then to all your friends, lovers, relatives, associates, all of your family and extended family. Then you include the whole human race, 7 billion. So all of these Taras are around you in space, facing you. This mandala image is projected outward to incorporate all the animals and humans, all the animals in the ocean and on the land as Tara. So now you have this mandala out beyond your city, even maybe beyond the planet. Then project the Tara to all the spirits which make up the entire universe of space. The four spirit conditions fill space. So now your mandala is as vast as beyond our solar system, beyond our galaxy, and so forth. All of the Taras can be of different size, up to you, or the same size, but they're all exactly imaged the same way you are. Having created this mandala in mind causes the heart mantra of the Tara to appear inside the five-colored sphere as a circle of letters around the green tom. They are facing inward. When you chant this mantra, that wheel of letters starts to move counterclockwise. And like a wheel gives off sparks or energy of radiant light which fills thousands of channels throughout your self-visualization of Tara. And then all of that blasts outward like the energy of the sun. When you create this visualization this way, you think that every sentient being in this mandala you have created is your family, and they are all doing the same thing you are. Om Tar Ra Tu Tar Re Tu Re So Ha. So that's the mantra of the Tara. Goes like this. Om Tara Tu Tare Tu Re So Ha. 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 Mama Tara inseparable. Om Tara Tu Tare Tu Re So Ha. 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 Om, everything arises in a state of clarity or light, without emotionality. Tara, powerful Bodhisattva mother, wisdom teacher. Tutare, swiftly removes all obstacles. Ture, everything becomes totally positive, no negative, no obstacle. Soha, presented to everybody endlessly, so that it's constantly expanding, including the entire universe and every being in it, timelessly. That's Soha. Sanskrit, they say Svaha. Om Tara Tutare Ture Soha. 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 So this is moving mind meditation. Single-pointedly focusing, starting with the Tom as the creation symbol, the mantra around it as the power, energy, expression of speech, compassion and insight, the deity as the symbol of the Buddha nature of your pure consciousness, because that's where it's coming from into this dimension, three-dimensional world, and the mandala of all beings as the way we extend it as healing energy to benefit of everyone, everywhere, and our environment. Om Tara Tutare Ture Soha. 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 Om Tutare Ture Soha. Om Tara Tutare Ture Soha. Om Tara Tutare Ture Om Tara Tutare Ture Soha. 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 Om Tara Tutare Ture Om Tara Tutare Ture Soha. Om Tara Tutare Ture Soha. Om Tara Tutare Ture Soha. Om Tara Tutare Tara Tutare Ture Soha. Om Tara Tutare Ture Soha. Om Tara Tutare Ture Soha. Om Tara Tutare Om Tare Tutare Ture Soha. Then this is all called the creation aspect of this yoga practice of Tara. To move to the accomplishment or fulfillment stage of the practice, we disappear the mandala in stages. To start with, you bring all sentient beings filling space into you, the central Tara. Visualizing yourself as in the sky of your mind, in the center of boundless space, disappear your hologram into the 10 syllables of the mantra. Then starting with the Om, syllable by syllable, disappear the mantra sounds into the sound Tom, the green Tom. The Tom in the sphere of 5-colored light, contract it to a tiny point of light similar to an atom, and allow that to merge with the light of space, so that you are now, without any meditation, you are in the unconditional state of pure awareness, so relax. To help with this, simply, effortlessly, keep to the instant present, where there is no time. Relaxed and aware, everything that arises is the natural state of pure awareness. This fulfillment stage of the meditation practice keep to a short session, and you should know that it always existed, has no middle, and is endless, whether you're in a body or not. Then return for post-meditational practice as the deity Tara to help you to remember that you are a bodhisattva, and then project that to others to help you remember they are your purpose for being here. And all sounds transform into the mantra of Tara so that you don't fixate on sound as being good, bad, or real. This is the post-meditational practice of this deity and all the deities in Tibetan Buddhist tradition. Any questions?
Not on my end. Thank you very much, Lamatashi.
Do I give the empowerment? Lineage empowerment?
Yes, please give the lineage empowerment.
Okay, so the self-empowerment of the Om Ahum is very powerful. But the lineage empowerment is to extend a backup for practitioners of all the traditions of Tibetan Buddhism, but in particular from our Kagyu traditions, which there are 12, and all the lineage teachers from the time of Shakyamuni up to the present. This is an unbroken transmission. So the energy of this transmission is from all of that as an assist, as a software, or like an app for your iPhone. So back straight, eyes in front. Listen. As the Lama and Tara appear simultaneously in front of you, incorporated into one entity, the first empowerment is called the base empowerment. Simply accept the energy of the Lama's transmission as white light from the Lama as Tara into your head. The base empowerment is to help you with the visualization of the deity, of being the Tara, and incorporating everything you sense, think about, and emotionally involve yourself with as being Tara. Receiving this transmission, chant Ah. The second phase of the empowerment is the speech empowerment for the mantra to affect the power of that as coming from the central life force of your body and all the energy within the body to give it power. See red light from the Tara's throat, inseparable from the Lama to your throat, chant Ah. Then visualize from the Lama's heart chakra to your heart chakra all of the wisdom and knowledge of all the Buddhas of the 3 times, past, present, and future, transmitted to your mind as pure consciousness, pure awareness, the antidote to every affliction, whether it be physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And this is called the wisdom transmission of the lineage. Chant Hum. So these 3 empowerments all together, see the 3 lights from the Lama into your 3 places, and all 3 lights now gather into the heart chakra, into a sphere of 5-colored light marked with the green tong. This brings everything into union so that there no longer exists any idea of separation between you and anybody or anything. Chant Tong. Tong. And this completes the lineage transmission of the tantric practice of Tara in all of her forms and all of her color-coded symbols as the 5 elements. Anytime you can receive a Tara empowerment, do so, but this one is sufficient for all practice. The following empowerments would simply be support or blessing for you. Thank you very much for this opportunity to give this empowerment and training session tonight. And we can finish tonight with the 7th spiritual practice of dedicating the merit to the benefit of all others. Are we ready for that?
Yes, sir.
First in Sanskrit. Dewa Diyi Nurdu Dog Chagya Champo Drubyurne Drowa Chinking Malupa Dei Sala Gopar Sho Sanjay Kusum Dempai Jemla Dong Chodi Megar Dempai Jemla Dong Gendu Meche Dumpai Jemla Ki Jitar Goma Monam Drupar Sho. By this virtue, having realized Mahamudra, may we quickly extend this to the benefit of all beings and bring them into this state. Through the blessings of the Buddha who obtained the 3 kayas, the 3 vehicles of the Bodhisattva, and by the unchanging truth of this Dharma in its fulfillment stage, and by the blessing of all of the aspirations of us, the Sangha, being fulfilled, may this and all dedication prayers be fulfilled. May all beings be happy, may all beings be free of suffering, may all beings be established in bliss through our practice, and a state of equanimity, being all emotionally stable. Duchiche, mahalo from Hawaii, thank you.
Hi, Lama Tashi, can you hear us?
Sure.
Hi, this is everybody in Vancouver. We all want to say together, Duchiche. Duchiche!
Duchiche!
Wait, I need to hear all that.
Yes. Yeah, so you, Davy and Jacques, you teach these people this practice. Whoopee! Aloha.
Bye.